I have these demons that run around in my insides. I've done everything in the world thinking I'm going to get rid of them. I don't know if it ever will.
We've switched gears because the blood tests and everything are looking like this cancer's getting wise.
He had demons running around inside him. That's what Patrick Swayze said about himself. The man who made millions of hearts flutter. The guy who could dance, sing, and act like no one else. But those demons never left him alone. You know Patrick Swayze from Dirty Dancing. You've seen him lift Jennifer Grey in that final scene. You've watched him make pottery with Demi Moore in Ghost. But what you don't know is what happened in his final moments, what he whispered before he died, and why that moment changed everything people thought they knew about him. Patrick Swayze wasn't just another pretty face in Hollywood. He was a man who fought battles you never saw, who loved one woman for 34 years in a town where marriages last 34 minutes, who kept working even when cancer was eating him alive, who refused painkillers on set so he could give you his best performance. The world saw the star, the dancer, the heartthrob. But behind those famous moves and that killer smile was a man carrying weight you can't imagine, a man who found his greatest triumph and his deepest pain in the same moments. This is the story of Patrick Swayze, not the sanitized Hollywood version, the real one, the one that starts in a dance studio in Houston and ends with 3 words whispered in a quiet room in Los Angeles. But first, you need to know about the demons he mentioned, because they shaped everything that came after. You're watching RetroWaves, where the true stories behind Hollywood's biggest legends come alive. If you want to know what really happened when the camera stopped rolling, hit that subscribe button right now, because we dig deeper than anyone else dares to go. We tell you the stories the studios tried to hide, the moments that made legends human. This is RetroWaves. This is where the real stories live. Houston, Texas, 1952. Patrick Swayze is born into a world where dreams cost everything and guarantee nothing. His mother, Patsy, runs a dance school. She's tough, demanding. She sees something in her son that others don't. Raw talent. But talent means nothing without discipline, so she pushes him hard. Patrick spends his teenage years in dance studios while other kids play sports. He gets teased, called names. Boys don't dance, they say. But Patrick keeps going. His body aches, his feet bleed, but he keeps going. At 18, he leaves Texas for New York City. He has nothing, a suitcase, a dream, and a work ethic. His mother beat into him. New York doesn't care about small-town boys with big dreams. The city chews them up and spits them out every day. Patrick auditions for everything: ballet companies, Broadway shows, commercials. He gets rejected more than he gets accepted. He sleeps on couches, eats cheap food, wears the same clothes for days. He lands small roles: background dancer, understudy. Nothing with his name on it. Nothing that pays real money. He watches other dancers get the parts he wants. He wonders if his mother was wrong about his talent. Years pass. Patrick is now in his 20s, still grinding, still hoping. He gets cast as Prince Charming in Disney on Parade. It's not Broadway, but it's something. Then he becomes the understudy for Danny Zuko in Grease. He watches the lead actor perform every night, learning, waiting, hoping for his chance. Hollywood keeps calling, but the roles are tiny. His first movie is Skate Town, USA. Nobody sees it, nobody cares. Patrick wonders if he's wasting his life chasing something that will never happen. He's 30 years old. Most actors have made it by now or given up. Patrick is stuck in the middle, good enough to keep getting small parts, not good enough to be a star. But then came the moment that changed everything. Francis Ford Coppola is casting The Outsiders. It's a big movie, based on a famous book, full of young actors who are about to become huge stars. Patrick auditions for Daryl Curtis, the protective older brother. The role fits him like a glove. He's been taking care of people his whole life. Now he gets to do it on screen. The movie works. Patrick doesn't get top billing, but people notice him. They remember his face, his intensity, the way he carries himself like he's been through real pain. Hollywood starts paying attention. Casting directors remember his name. Scripts start coming his way. Better scripts, bigger roles, but the real breakthrough comes 4 years later, 1987, a little movie called Dirty Dancing. The studio doesn't expect much. It's a small-budget film about dancing and romance. Patrick plays Johnny Castle, a dance instructor from the wrong side of the tracks. The studio thinks it might make a few million and disappear. Patrick throws everything he has into the role. All those years of dance training, all that rejection, all that hunger. He channels it into Johnny Castle. The movie hits theaters in August. Within weeks, it's a phenomenon. Lines around the block, sold-out showings. The final dance scene becomes legendary. Patrick lifting Jennifer Grey. The music swelling. I've had the time of my life. But Patrick doesn't just act in the movie. He helps write the soundtrack. A song called She's Like the Wind. He pours his heart into those lyrics, about love, about loss, about the woman who means everything to him. The song hits number 3 on the Billboard Hot 100. The movie makes over $200 million worldwide. Patrick Swayze becomes a household name overnight. People magazine will later name him Sexiest Man Alive. Studios line up to work with him. He's officially a movie star. But Patrick knows something the world doesn't. This is just the beginning. He's got bigger dreams, bigger roles, and demons he's still trying to outrun. The real question is, can he handle what comes next? The late 1980s belonged to Patrick Swayze. After Dirty Dancing, he can't walk down the street without being mobbed. Women scream his name. Men want to be him. He's the complete package. He can act, dance, sing, and look good doing all of it. Hollywood doesn't know what to do with him. He's not just an action hero, not just a romantic lead. He's something new, something different. In 1990, Patrick takes the biggest risk of his career, a movie called Ghost. He plays Sam Wheat, a man who dies and comes back as a spirit to protect the woman he loves. The studio is nervous. Can audiences buy Patrick Swayze as a ghost? Can he carry a supernatural romance? The movie could be brilliant or ridiculous. There's no middle ground. Patrick brings everything he learned from dance to the role. Movement, grace, emotion without words. The pottery scene with Demi Moore becomes one of the most romantic moments in movie history. Not because of dialogue, because of feeling. Because Patrick knows how to communicate with his whole body. Ghost explodes at the box office, over $500 million worldwide. Patrick gets his second Golden Globe nomination. He's not just a heartthrob anymore, he's a serious actor. But Patrick won't be put in a box. In 1991, he stars in Point Break with Keanu Reeves. He plays Bodie, a bank-robbing surfer with a philosophy degree. It's completely different from anything he's done before. The critics don't know what to make of it. Is it an action movie? A spiritual journey? A buddy cop film? Patrick doesn't care about categories. He just wants to challenge himself. The movie becomes a cult classic. Patrick shows he can do adrenaline-pumping action just as well as romantic drama. He surfs. He jumps out of planes. He brings depth to a character that could have been a cartoon. Then comes the role that proves Patrick's true courage. To Wong Fu, thanks for everything. Julie Newmar. Patrick plays a drag queen named Vida Boheme. This is career suicide. His agents tell him, action stars don't dress in drag. Romance leads don't wear heels and makeup. The audience will reject him. Patrick doesn't listen. He sees something in the character, something real, something important. He throws himself into the role completely, studies drag culture, works with real drag queens, treats the character with respect and dignity. The movie gets mixed reviews, but Patrick's performance is praised. He gets his third Golden Globe nomination. More importantly, he proves he's not afraid to take risks, not afraid to challenge expectations. By the mid-1990s, Patrick Swayze has conquered every genre: romance, action, comedy, drama. He's worked with the biggest directors, starred opposite the biggest stars. He has a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Fans worship him. Critics respect him. Studios trust him with their biggest budgets. Patrick Swayze is at the top of the world. He's married to his childhood sweetheart. He's rich. He's famous. He's respected. But behind the spotlight, trouble is brewing. Success in Hollywood comes with a price. Patrick Swayze is about to learn how steep that price can be. The pressure starts early. Every movie has to be bigger than the last one. Every role has to top the previous performance. Patrick feels the weight of expectation crushing down on him. Then tragedy strikes. Patrick's father dies suddenly. The man who taught him to be strong, to never give up, to always keep fighting, gone. Patrick doesn't know how to handle grief. He's spent his whole life moving forward, working harder, pushing through pain. But this pain won't go away with more work, so he turns to alcohol. At first, it's just a drink after filming, something to take the edge off, to help him sleep, to quiet the voices in his head that tell him he's not good enough, that he doesn't deserve his success. The drinking gets worse. Patrick shows up to sets hungover, forgets lines he's known for years. His legendary professionalism starts to crack. Lisa, his wife of nearly 2 decades, watches the man she loves disappear into a bottle. She tries to help, tries to reach him, but addiction is a wall that love can't always climb. Patrick's demons are winning, the same demons he mentioned at the beginning of his career. They never left. They just waited for the right moment to attack. Hollywood starts to notice. Directors whisper about Patrick's drinking. Studios become reluctant to hire him. His asking price drops. Scripts stop coming. For a man who built his career on discipline and reliability, this is devastating. Patrick has always been the guy who shows up early, who knows everyone's lines, who never complains. Now he's becoming everything he swore he'd never be. The 1990s become a battle between two Patrick Swayzes, the professional who still delivers great performances, and the broken man who's drowning in his own success. Lisa gives him an ultimatum: get sober or lose her. It's the wake-up call Patrick needs. In the mid-1990s, Patrick checks into rehab. He faces his demons head-on for the first time in years. It's the hardest thing he's ever done. Harder than any dance routine, harder than any movie role. But Patrick has something most people don't. Lisa Niemi, the woman who met him when she was 14 and he was 18, who saw something in him before the world knew his name, who stayed with him through fame and failure. Patrick gets sober. He starts meditating, reading spiritual books, exploring Buddhism and transcendental meditation. He's searching for something deeper than fame, something that can fill the hole. Alcohol temporarily covered. By the early 2000s, Patrick seems to have found balance. He's taking smaller roles in independent films. He's not chasing blockbusters anymore. He's choosing projects that matter to him. He appears in Donnie Darko as a motivational speaker with dark secrets. It's a small role, but Patrick brings depth to every scene. He's proving he can still act at the highest level. Patrick and Lisa retreat to their ranch in New Mexico. They breed horses, live simply. For the first time in decades, Patrick feels at peace. Would this be the end of his struggles, or just another turning point? Patrick Swayze reinvents himself in his 50s, not as a different person, but as a deeper version of who he always was. He stops chasing Hollywood's approval. Instead, he creates his own projects. In 2003, Lisa directs a film called One Last Dance. Patrick stars in it and co-writes the screenplay with his wife. The movie isn't a blockbuster. It barely gets released in theaters, but that's not the point. Patrick and Lisa pour their shared experiences into every scene, their love of dance, their understanding of partnership, their knowledge of what it takes to survive in show business. Critics who see the film are surprised. This isn't the Patrick Swayze of Dirty Dancing or Ghost. This is a mature artist working on his own terms, taking risks without worrying about box office numbers. Patrick starts choosing roles based on instinct rather than paycheck. He appears in independent films that challenge him, television projects that let him explore different characters. He's not the leading man anymore, and he doesn't care. In interviews, he's more honest than ever before. He talks about his struggles with alcohol, his father's death, the pressure of fame, the demons he mentioned years ago. Fans see a different side of Patrick Swayze, not the perfect movie star, but a real human being who's been through hell and came out stronger. He and Lisa travel the world, explore different cultures, study various spiritual practices. Patrick is searching for meaning beyond entertainment. The couple strengthens their bond in ways that surprise even them. After nearly 30 years of marriage, they're still discovering new things about each other, still choosing to grow together instead of apart. Patrick starts writing more, not just songs but stories, reflections on his life and career. He begins work on an autobiography with Lisa. They want to tell their story honestly, the good and the bad. By 2007, Patrick Swayze has achieved something rare in Hollywood. He's found peace with his past, excitement about his future, and contentment with his present. He's planning new projects, considering a return to television, thinking about directing his own film. Patrick Swayze at 55 feels like he's just getting started. Then comes January 2008, and news that will change everything. January 2008, Patrick Swayze is experiencing stomach pain, not severe, just a dull ache that won't go away. He figures it's stress, bad food, something minor. Lisa convinces him to see a doctor, just to be safe. The tests come back: Stanford University Medical Center, stage 4 pancreatic cancer, one of the deadliest diseases known to medicine. The doctor is blunt: Patrick has 6 months to 2 years to live. The tumor is inoperable, too advanced for surgery. Patrick sits in silence, doesn't ask questions, doesn't argue with the diagnosis. He just nods quietly. Lisa is the only one in the room with him, the only witness to the moment Patrick Swayze's world ends. But Patrick Swayze doesn't give up. That's not who he is. He starts chemotherapy immediately, experimental drugs, treatments that make him violently sick. He loses weight rapidly. His face becomes gaunt. His skin turns pale. The media notices. Paparazzi follow him to medical appointments. Tabloids speculate about his health. The world watches Patrick Swayze dying in real time. Instead of hiding, Patrick does something unexpected. He goes back to work. A&E offers him the lead role in a television series called The Beast. Patrick accepts. He films 12-hour days while undergoing cancer treatment. He refuses high-dose painkillers during shooting because they affect his performance. The cast and crew are amazed. Patrick never complains, never asks for special treatment. If you didn't know he was dying, you'd think he was the healthiest person on set. Director Michael Dinner later says, Patrick was never late, never unprofessional. You wouldn't have known he was fighting terminal cancer. Patrick loses over 50 pounds. The transformation is shocking, but he keeps working, keeps fighting. In 2009, Barbara Walters interviews Patrick on national television. She asks if he's afraid of dying. "I'm not afraid of dying," Patrick says, "but I'm afraid of leaving the one I love behind." By April 2009, the cancer spreads to his liver. Doctors say there's nothing more they can do. Patrick stops aggressive treatment and returns home to Los Angeles. Lisa becomes his full-time caregiver. She feeds him, gives him medicine, documents every day in a journal. She writes down what he eats, how he feels, the expressions on his face. Patrick spends his final months reading spiritual books, listening to classical music, writing in his own journal. He's preparing for something the rest of us can't understand. September 14, 2009, late afternoon. Patrick Swayze is lying in bed at his Los Angeles home. Lisa is holding his hand. He whispers something to her. 3 words. She whispers back. Then Patrick Swayze closes his eyes for the last time. He's 57 years old. There's no media circus, no public funeral, no Hollywood memorial service. Just Lisa and a few close friends, saying goodbye to a man who spent his life entertaining millions. The official cause of death is pancreatic cancer. But those who knew Patrick understand something deeper. He died the way he lived, fighting until the end, surrounded by love. Patrick Swayze has been gone for over 15 years. His movies still play on television every week. His songs still stream millions of times per year. New generations discover Dirty Dancing and Ghost like they're brand new. But Patrick's real legacy isn't in his filmography. It's in how he changed what it meant to be a leading man in Hollywood. Before Patrick, male movie stars had to fit into boxes. Action heroes, romantic leads, comedy stars. Patrick broke those boxes. He showed that a man could be tough and tender, strong and vulnerable, masculine and graceful. Jennifer Grey, his co-star in Dirty Dancing, says it best. Patrick didn't try to be good on screen. He was already that person in real life. Other actors study Patrick's performances to understand how he brought such authenticity to every role, how he used his whole body to communicate emotion, how he never seemed to be acting, even when doing the most dramatic scenes. Directors still reference Patrick when casting films. They look for actors with his combination of physicality and sensitivity, his ability to be believable in any genre. But Patrick's most important legacy is his marriage to Lisa. In an industry where relationships last months, theirs lasted decades. They proved that real love can survive fame, fortune, and tragedy. Lisa Niemi continues Patrick's work in ways people don't always see. She advocates for pancreatic cancer research, supports young artists, keeps Patrick's memory alive through careful stewardship of his image and work. In 2024, a documentary called I Am Patrick Swayze was released. It features never-before-seen footage and interviews with people who knew him best. The documentary doesn't shy away from his struggles with alcohol and illness. It presents Patrick as he really was, flawed, complex, and ultimately heroic. The film reminds audiences that Patrick Swayze wasn't just a movie star. He was a dancer who helped make dance cool for men, a singer who wrote one of the most romantic songs of the 1980s, a husband who showed the world what real partnership looks like. Young performers still study Patrick's career for lessons on longevity, how to reinvent yourself, how to take risks without losing your core identity, how to handle success and failure with equal grace. Patrick Swayze's name is mentioned alongside the greatest entertainers of his generation, but those who knew him personally remember something else: his kindness, his work ethic, his loyalty to the people he loved. That might be his greatest achievement of all. "I love you." Those were Patrick Swayze's final words, whispered to Lisa in a quiet room on a September afternoon. No cameras, no audience, just a man saying goodbye to the woman who shared his life. It's fitting, somehow. Patrick spent his career making people believe in love, in second chances, in the power of connection. His final act was to demonstrate those values one last time. We remember Patrick Swayze for many things: the lift in Dirty Dancing, the pottery scene in Ghost, the way he moved like poetry in motion. But maybe we should remember him most for those 3 words. In a world that often feels divided and disconnected, Patrick's story reminds us what matters. Not fame, not money, not the approval of strangers. Love matters. Fighting for the people who matter to you. That matters. Patrick Swayze had demons running around inside him. He said so himself. But he also had something stronger: love. The kind that lasts 34 years. The kind that survives cancer and fame and all the pressures that destroy most relationships. The kind that whispers, "I love you," at the very end. Maybe that's why Patrick Swayze's name still makes an entire generation pause and listen, not because he was perfect, not because he never struggled, but because he showed us how to love deeply and fight bravely, even when the demons are winning, even when time is running out, especially then.